I love a good distraction. So anything that I saw as a distraction or something that could potentially be a distraction from actually having to deal with anything, I would run with it. I loved it. And then I would oftentimes make the situation so much worse because I thrived in the chaos till I didn't.
You've arrived at the Mental Health Spotlight podcast with therapist Kais.
I'm like exhausted.
You're exhausted. How can you expect to be hosting a podcast?
Oh, you're going to do it. I'm just going to sit here. Oh my gosh. Well, so I was listening to our last podcast and I realized that I don't need to be here because you knew what you were talking about. And looking back on all those years, I'm like, oh, she was really good. And then I was kind of like, today I can just sit here and let you talk, right?
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I might control some of your impulses, but beyond that,
Okay.
One of our trends on the last one is you weren't allowed to lick the pop filter.
I do recall that, yes, because I believe that's the title of the episode.
Tried to lick it, and I said an expletive
well, you
at
kept
you.
telling me to get closer and closer to it, so I felt like I was worried. I didn't want to lick the pop filter.
You wanted to have an intimate moment with
I was
it.
just, yes. And I was concerned that what happens if I accidentally did? Would you fire me? Would we be done? Would we have to have a conversation about it?
You brought it up, and then I said, "Don't do it," and you put it on the audio that I said that to you.
Yeah. I do recall that.
I kept it.
Yes.
Yeah, I kept it.
It's crazy. Was that like 5 years ago?
No, probably about 2.5. Because
Okay.
I just started this about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
But you were one of my baby very first.
Well, that's because I'm your
I know.
favorite.
We'll talk about that later. Yes. Your issues with me will be discussed later if we have enough time.
Okay,
What are we going to do, like 45 minutes? We can do this and leave in your issues too.
Okay.
We can do it.
All right,
but I didn't
all right.
ask you what I'm calling you this time. You had a cute little name last time.
Yeah, just my name's fine this time around.
Allie Valletta, right?
Yeah,
You go by
yeah.
Allie more than Allison, right?
I usually do, yeah.
You usually do.
Yeah.
Because last time you were Poppy Rose,
I
weren't you?
recall.
I loved it. But you can be whoever you want. You weren't underage then, though, were you?
No.
No, but I was keeping everyone anonymous.
Yeah, you were,
'cause
yeah.
I don't know, and I didn't want to assume.
But you know me, I love attention, so...
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. We have two
Anything
cameras
you
and
said, is
sound
it okay
and-
if I record video? I said, I was hoping you'd ask. I thought
like-
you'd never ask.
And you got your hair did. You're like, yes, I want video. I have like these curls. Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got this. I guess we could just do this the whole time, or we could start with learning a little bit about you for folks who maybe don't go back and re-listen to Poppy Rose, who is you.
Right.
What is a little bit of your history related to mental health? And we're going to talk about eating disorders and mental health today, right?
Yeah.
And God knows what else.
Yes.
So who are you, girl? We have fidgets today. I'm acting like we have an audience. Hello, everybody.
I love that.
We have no audience.
We should. Live studio audience. Why not?
We should pretend. It'd be kind of awesome. We could put like one of those clapping things in there, and we could like toast our audience and stuff.
I do like that.
Okay,
I
we'll
like
work
that.
on it.
Okay. Anyway, some crowd work. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see. Pretty sure it came out of the womb with anxiety. I can't remember.
I wasn't there. You made it sound like I was there. I was not, but I've known you long enough to know that.
I like to imagine that you were there.
That's so
by my side the
disturbing.
whole time.
This is going to take more than 45 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
So anxiety.
So yeah,
lot of it.
I don't know. I don't remember any point in my life where I was not anxious. I've always been really anxious. Let's see. I don't remember when my depression first started getting really bad, but I think it was probably like 10-ish when I was around 10.
So young.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
young. I don't know. I kind of, when I think back, I just have kind of always been a little bit melancholy, a little bit, I don't know. I don't remember when I wasn't, but I know that I haven't always been pretty sad.
And we're going to talk about your past to see how you've gotten where you are today.
Yes,
and all the differences in long-term recovery. But
Yes.
melancholy is not a word I would have used for you. But is that because of the work you've done that you don't display your melancholy? You're bright as a person.
But I think, I don't know. I feel like it's always been kind of underlying. Like I've always just been a little bit melancholy.
Prone to it.
Yeah.
It goes in.
And I don't even think it's a bad thing per se. I think that I'm just a very reflective person. I like to dwell on things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just always thinking about everything all the time, and sometimes that makes me a little bit sad because there's a lot of sadness
Busy
out
brain.
there.
You
Yes.
have the busy brain.
Yes.
Which is a whole other podcast we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But so the busy brain on top of the anxiety meant eventually that turned into a melancholic and a depression at times.
And then, I don't know, well, I guess it was probably a little bit earlier than that, at least with the anxiety, because I started therapy in first grade. And anytime that, when you're a minor, your mom, usually your parents go in to talk to the therapist after or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember the therapist would just say, oh, she's really tightly wound. She's really tightly wound. We have to do something to, unwind her a little bit because she's so tightly wound. And I was, and I still am. I always have been. And I've gotten better at managing that. But I'm just a very kind of intense. I can be a little intense.
Which was the other label you didn't get as a young person. Didn't show up until later, and that was the ADHD, right?
Yes.
Because you have a motor that runs.
Especially when I was younger, I know, like, for me, I never had issues getting assignments done. I never had issues, with things that might be attributed to ADHD, especially in the early 2000s, when a lot of younger boys were being diagnosed with ADHD, but not a lot of younger girls.
No.
And it really kind of presents differently in men than women, in girls than boys.
And children.
In children, yeah. And so I think that was a big part of that. I was such a perfectionist that I would procrastinate a lot because I was so worried that whatever work I was doing wasn't going to be perfect. If I wanted to do something, it needed to be absolutely perfect. Right. And I would make myself sick trying to be perfect all the time.
There's that cycle.
Yep. And I think that really played into everything later. And it wasn't like I didn't have very encouraging parents that, always told me, my parents constantly told me how proud they were of me. It wasn't like I never felt love from them. It was this own standard that I was holding myself to just constantly. And I was so afraid of disappointing them. I was so afraid of getting in trouble at school because I was worried they would be upset with me. I was so afraid, but
these were your stories, not theirs.
Yes. I was so afraid of letting everybody down, including myself.
And so this was your childhood for the most part, was all of these pieces.
Yeah.
And you were getting care the whole time. You were surviving, but you weren't thriving, we can be cliche.
Oh.
So all the stuff you were doing maybe didn't help, but did you also have higher level of care too?
Well, so in my junior year of high school, so I stopped... Oh no.
That was fun. You can't see what I just did. Junior year of high school, I was listening.
Yes. So I stopped seeing that therapist for a while. Like,
was that the first grade therapist? You'd seen them that whole time?
No.
Oh, okay,
I
so
stopped seeing that therapist around, I don't know, probably third grade-ish.
Okay.
I don't really remember. It's all kind of a blur. And then I started seeing her again a couple times in... early high school, like sophomore year. Then junior year, I ended up switching to another therapist in that same practice. Different therapist, also kind of I don't know, she was newer, and I think that she was a little bit overwhelmed by everything in general, which is fine.
Yeah, remember we commented on some of your care in the first podcast that it wasn't always stellar, but you were complicated. So.
Yes. Going into my sophomore year of high school, I did intensive outpatient care at Akron Children's.
For mental health or the eating disorder at that point?
Mental health.
That was so. We're all still talking mental health this whole time.
Yes.
Like your childhood was the mental health and the undiagnosed ADHD.
Yes. Okay. And then I growing up was always very, very, very tiny. And that was the first thing that so many people commented on. Even like looking back now, when I see, I have friends that are parents now, which is crazy. But I have friends that are parents, and it's like when I see their kids, my first thought is never to comment on their body.
Thank you.
Or like, even like I remember, talking to, having childhood friends, their parents would comment, "Oh, you're so teeny tiny, you're so skinny mini. I wish my body looked like yours." I'm 6 years old. Why do you wish you had the body of a 6-year-old? That's crazy. And why are you telling the 6-year-old that,
Good point.
Or
so those messages are getting in your brain.
You have adults saying, "Oh, you're so cute. You're so little. Oh, it's going to catch up with you one day. You're such a big eater. Your metabolism's going to catch up with you and you're going to look like me one day." And I'm like,
So your brain was getting filled with those messages early, but you weren't presenting yet.
Yes. So it was that like that underlying idea that the first thing people saw about me, the first thing people noticed about me, the reason that I was important in people's lives was because I was skinny, right?
And little.
Yes.
Even when you were young.
Yes,
Just little
I've
human.
always been very tiny.
You were born in a small body. But
Yeah.
people were commenting, and it was a thing for your brain.
Yes. So then probably around probably the beginning of high school, I would say, is when I started having more issues with food. But I was more reserved about it. I told myself that it wasn't anything serious, right? Because it wasn't to me at the time. Like, it was just...
You were doing what everybody else was doing, watching your numbers probably,
Yes.
paying attention.
Yes. Yeah. And then it turned into, it very, very quickly spiraled. And I'm sure I said this on the last podcast episode. But for somebody that had an eating disorder, and, you never really get rid of an eating disorder, but somebody who's had an eating disorder for so long, I'm really bad at having an eating disorder. I've never been good at it, I guess, which is such a weird way to phrase that, but
But your brain knows it.
Yeah. So, for a long time it was, I would need that control. I would need something, and I knew what I didn't want to lose. I knew what I liked about myself, which wasn't a lot, because my self-esteem was so low, my depression was so bad, my anxiety was so bad. I didn't have a lot of things that I liked about myself, but I knew the one thing that I liked was I liked how tiny I was, and I liked that people commented on it all the time. I loved that attention, and again, that's what I'd been hearing about myself for so long.
So you better keep it that way.
So I better keep it
Or make
that
it
way.
even smaller, because
Yes.
then that'll work better. Right? I'm assuming this is what your brain was saying.
Yeah. Because if I lose that, then what do I have? If I lose that, then what else is there about me that people are going to like?
You hadn't learned yet.
Yeah.
And we'll get into how as an adult that has,
Yeah.
has hopefully changed. Yeah.
So then it turned into, then it became, junior year of high school, I got really, really suicidal. I was getting really, really suicidal. I don't know. I think a lot of people will say, like, oh, I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to live. No, I wanted to die. Like, I didn't see any worth in myself. I didn't see any value in my life. I genuinely believed that everybody in my life would be so much better if I just wasn't around, right?
So your depression was pretty hot then.
Yeah,
too.
it was really, really,
And was
really
the
bad.
eating disorder going on at the same
Yes.
time? Because it's
So
playing with your brain also.
At that point, in high school especially, because I was okay mostly with the way that I looked, I wanted to lose weight. I've always, even when I'm being told, no, you're so tiny, like, my brain just doesn't compute that. I have a really hard time genuinely, like, thinking what I look like. I can't
You have the dysmorphia,
perceive
probably.
what I look like.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so I would see people with bodies that I thought, even now, like, I still see people with bodies that I think look like mine. And I'm like, do I look like that? What? But I can't tell. It's so hard.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was throwing up everything I was eating. So it wasn't really like I was binging. I never really binged. Every so often I would, but that came a lot later.
So you're mainly restricting and just not letting
But
your
I
body
wasn't
get
restricting
nutrition.
either. I was eating, and then I'd make sure I ate really fast, and then I would immediately go throw up.
So
it was
your
like,
form of restriction was with behavior.
yes,
You were compensating.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was.
This was junior year of high school.
Yeah, I think that probably started late sophomore year of high school, going into junior year, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. So by junior year of high school, it was pretty bad.
Were you getting care through any of high school for these
Yes.
symptoms? You were. Okay.
I had psychiatrists, I had therapists, I had, I was on medication.
Any eating
at that
disorder
point.
treatment at that time? I can't remember you until college what kind of treatment you were getting.
I think it wasn't anything specific to eating disorders. It was just
Then it wasn't eating disorder
yeah.
care. Okay.
Yeah.
So that wasn't getting addressed, but they were trying to help you with symptoms.
yes. So it was always
Well, no wonder it didn't.
well, and that's the thing. It was a lot of like your eating disorder is a result of you feeling out of control in this aspect, and this aspect. So instead of like looking at it as an eating disorder, we're going to look at it as a symptom of the depression, of the anxiety, of the, obsessive thoughts.
So they knew it was there at least, but they didn't know how to
yes,
treat it.
but it wasn't ever, it was more of a, okay,
Oh, you're doing this because
Yes.
of, not that your brain's already hijacked by an eating disorder.
Yes. So
it.
that
Got it.
really
Oops.
skewed the way that
Little bit.
because right now, like, even talking about this, I feel like such a fraud being here. I feel like I don't have an eating disorder. Like, I've never had an eating disorder.
You weren't sick enough. You were the one
Because
that
I
used your
wasn't-
line all the time. You say you thought
Yes.
you weren't sick enough.
I wasn't sick enough. I never was sick enough. But people that aren't sick don't have to go live somewhere for a while. That's usually not how that works.
I'd say you got your badge in that. Yeah, you can go pick up your badge after. Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
you make a good point that maybe you or those around you didn't do as much because you probably were like, no, really, it's good.
Yes.
You thought it was good. Maybe others did too. Really.
Well, and again,
you were surviving, going to
always-
school. and
I was always
you
very
were
small.
functioning.
I was always very, so nobody ever said, hey, I'm a little bit concerned. Hey, I'm a little bit.
Because you didn't show a
Because I
drastic
didn't.
change.
Yes, it was never a drastic change, you know?
And 6% of eating disorders look like an eating disorder.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So 94% of individuals with eating disorders don't necessarily, you can't tell.
Yeah.
Physically, that is.
So,
So you weren't getting help for that, and then you graduated because you went on to college.
Yeah, I did really well in high school.
Okay.
For the most part, academically, it wasn't crazy academic or anything, but I did well. I got good grades.
You went on to a good school.
I cared a lot. And again, this is at this time, I was so obsessed with making sure that everything was perfect. I was still everything has to be perfect all the time. And
Your
if it's not
ADHD must
perfect-
have hated that because that's impossible.
Oh yeah, and then it was also like
It's never done.
it was the constant procrastination of everything and just the constant
couldn't do it
again
right.
if I need to have the perfect idea of what I want to do, and then the execution needs to be perfect the first time around, or I don't want to do it.
So then you avoid it.
So then I avoid it, and then I sit there and I go, wow, I really, really need to do this. I really should do this. I have to do this, and I can't do it.
I love that you said that, by the way. That's a really common symptom
Yeah.
I hear from maybe older people's ADHD, and by older meaning older high school into college, is that exactly
Yeah.
what you said is, I just don't do it because I need to do it well and I'm not ready.
Yeah.
It's never quite ready to be
I
done
can't-
100%.
Yeah, if I can't do it perfectly on the first try, because then thinking about also like having to go back and edit what I've done and do this and that, oh, that feels like a lot of work.
And so then the ADHD brain, the other side of your brain is like, I can't look at that huge task.
yeah,
and do it.
I can't.
So you're hitting a wall on either side.
Yes.
But you're still not getting treated for it, nor it's not being acknowledged as ADHD.
No.
So you don't really, you just think it's part of the anxiety.
Yes. So then I moved away, went to Slippery Rock, which, growing up in Kent, then going to Slippery Rock, I lived on campus. And the first year, I made a lot of friends. It seemed on the surface, I think, like I was doing really well, but I was not doing well at all.
And we're going to lean a lot into this because what happened you hear, some of these pieces are what came back years later
Yes.
when you're rebuilding your life and we're getting in the way.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm mentioning that because this connects very specifically to why
Yeah, this kind of
recovery is hard long term.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not doing well, but you're socializing.
Yes, I'm making new friends. I did a lot of theater in high school, and then when I started college, I really wanted to be, which is so funny in retrospect, I wanted to be an FBI profiler. Yeah, hilarious, right?
No,
Because
I kind of
very anti-law enforcement, very.
But like your brain, I could see you being
Yeah.
able to see people really well.
Yes,
I know you're a little funny
really-
about administration of it. but
Yeah, I really.
I could see you doing a little forensic lady.
Yeah, I thought that I really liked psychology, so I was very interested in psychology. I was very interested in, helping people. That's what I wanted to do ultimately. I wanted to help people. And I thought that I could do it, right? I really thought that was what I was going to do. And maybe write a book here or there, because I've always wanted to write something. I've always said, I want to write something that changes one person's life. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to change, it doesn't have to be a bestseller. I just want to impact one person.
You will.
And that's enough.
And you're a great writer, by the way. Your whole whatever paths you have or haven't taken, your creative self, there's no question. You've got it, and you will do that.
Thank you.
Right now, your voice is doing it, but I know you'll put it in words too.
Thank you. But that is when I started really. Going back. I wasn't going to do any theater in college, right? It just didn't seem like anything for me. Like, I was like, you know, it's time to kind of focus, do something that's going to be what my long-term goal is.
Okay.
But then I learned that they were doing Spring Awakening, and I love Spring Awakening. So I was like, maybe I'll audition. You know, I'm not going to get in. I'm a freshman. I'm not a theater major. Like, I'm not going to get in. But then the craziest thing happened. I got in. Yeah. And then that started a, 4-year love-hate relationship with the theater department.
Yeah. So you had found a home a little bit. You had people. Yeah. But all this time while you're acting and taking classes, you're still struggling with all the things we mentioned.
Yes.
The ADHD is there, the anxiety, the depression, and the eating disorder, I assume.
It's getting,
because you're going to hit a wall eventually.
And it's getting worse. Not just the eating disorder, but, you go to college and everybody, because everybody is so obsessed with people's bodies and people's weights and gaining weight and losing weight, you're going to get the freshman 15. Oh, you're so tiny now, but it's going to be a freshman 15. I actually don't think I gained any weight my freshman year of college. I think my weight was pretty much the same. But I was also, very cognizant of that. I was very, very aware. I was, again, still throwing up after everything I was eating. So
right. So you were still controlling what your body was doing. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, my mental health started getting even worse. I would feel like I was absolutely insane. It was almost like these hypomanic episodes where I would just I would feel so crazy.
And impulsive tied into that too, right?
Yes. I got more impulsive as college went on. Like, the impulsivity got a lot worse.
And more near, yeah. This is all brewing until you came.
And because insurance is kind of weird, Slippery Rock is a small town, it took me a long time to get a therapist. So I went to the health center on campus. I was like, hey, something doesn't feel right. But I did have a psychiatrist at the time, but he was in Ohio still.
Okay, which was still from your childhood need for the medication.
Yes.
But you wanted help in Pennsylvania.
I think I started seeing him when I was in end of junior year, beginning of senior year of high school. So not really like a kid anymore, but still a kid.
So you had some medical coverage, but that's not helping you with...
Yes. And I would go in, I would go talk to him, and I said, hey, I think there's something wrong with me. Like, I don't think... I think I need to change my meds or something. Like, something is not right. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, that just sounds like anxiety to me. And I was like, man, I've dealt with anxiety my entire life. Like, I know what my anxiety is. I know what my panic attacks are. I know what these things feel like. This is not that. This is something very different. This is something much more intense than my anxiety. This is, I'm looking at the mirror and feeling like I don't know who that is. Like, I do, but I don't.
A little dissociation along with the hypomanic
very, very
a little bit, right?
Dissociative.
You had a lot of... you went a la carte with a lot of symptoms. Does that sound weird? Yeah. Like, you didn't have like bipolar. You didn't have any of these, but you had little pieces of everything.
Yeah.
You had a little hypomania, you had a little dissociation.
Yeah.
And I kind of jumped ahead, but you really did have quite a...
Yeah.
Which is what's so amazing about where you are right now. But at that moment, everything was exploded.
Yes.
And you went to get help.
Yes. And then that was when... they told me, well, there's one woman in Slippery Rock. You might like her, you might not. You can see her. I saw her a couple times. She was fine. I don't really remember everything. I know she immediately said that I was bipolar. She said that I
remember
like
talking about that. It wasn't a good fit.
And it was like immediate. Like, maybe so. And again, like you said, I had a lot of criterias that fit.
You did, but you also had some things that were an eating disorder will make you look like you have every diagnosis.
Yeah.
If it was rampant in your brain, it can look like all of that.
Yes.
Yeah. And psychosis. It can look like psychosis.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So you don't stay with her, but then you went to Rob. Was it Robert? Do I remember his name?
Later.
Oh,
but yes.
Did I get the name right? Was it Robert?
No.
Richard.
Bill.
Damn it.
Bill. Well, Robert was my psychiatrist.
George, Curtis, Evan.
Yeah, just keep guessing names.
Wait, did I get one right?
Well, Robert was my psychiatrist, yeah.
That was here, though.
Yeah. Oh. But I met him around the same time I met you.
Okay.
I was seeing Bill. I started seeing Bill.
I remember Bill.
It must have been my junior year of high school. Or, no, sorry, my junior year of college. That's kind of when I started seeing Bill.
Okay. And you're just holding on this whole time.
Mm-hmm. And I'm staying on my meds, but they're not really... actually, honestly, I don't know if I was staying on my meds at that point in time. If I was on so many different medications.
And you're probably partying because you're in college too. So who knows whether you took your meds or not, or what was complicated.
Well, it was that if I didn't feel like they were working, I would stop taking them. Okay. So I didn't care for that. And then it turned into I don't know. Everything got a lot worse. And then junior year of college happened, and that was okay for the most part. Again, I had a really, really, really wonderful group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a relationship with somebody that I really liked at the time. Mm-hmm. The problem was I was so beyond just a mess. I was such a mess. Yeah. And
you were spinning, weren't you, by then?
Yes.
I feel like you were spinning all over.
I couldn't be a healthy person for the people in my life. Mm-hmm. And also, some of my friends were not in places where they could be healthy people in my life.
Yeah. So you guys were young. We're talking
and that's
18, 19-year-olds, maybe 20.
At that point, my junior year of college, I was 20 turning 21.
But that's so young.
Yeah. I was very young.
How do you support a friend? How do you know how you're doing? How do you support yourself?
Right.
It's all over the place.
So there's a lot there. And then my senior year of college was when everything got really bad. Mm-hmm. That is when my impulsivity just completely went out the door. I was being so reckless. Anything that I wanted to do, I had a really hard time thinking about the consequences of anything. Yeah. And even when I was thinking about the consequences, in my head, I don't even want to say I didn't care enough, because I did care. I cared about the people that I was hurting, but I felt so out of control. Yeah. I felt like
you still did it in the moment because you didn't know how not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever it was.
But I just felt I felt like I couldn't.
How much of that do you think was, and I know you had all these symptoms, you had the eating disorder, your brain was probably starved from all the nonstop purging. At some point, where did the ADHD step in? Do you feel like it played a catalyst here? Because impulsivity and all that energy, you were probably just like...
Yeah, I started doing way worse in school, way worse in classes. Yeah. There were some classes where I would just skip a bunch of them, and I'd show up, I'd take the test, and I'd still pass them, but like... It was so hard for me to function because there was so much going on top of trying to maintain this perfect student, I need to be the best at everything all the time. And then realizing that I wasn't the best. I wasn't this perfect student. I kept messing things up. And
meanwhile, not treating eating disorder yet.
Yes.
Not treating ADHD yet. And just taking meds for mental health.
Well, okay. So I guess... At this point, junior year of college, I went back to the psych ward.
Mm-hmm. You said back because you had a couple.
Well, that was junior year of high school. Went to the psych ward. Junior year of college, went back to the psych ward. Mm-hmm. I was feeling so suicidal. I remember being in the car with my friends at the time and going, "Hey, if we go home, I'm gonna kill myself. Like I can't. So they took me to the hospital, and we were there, and it was where I needed to be at the time. I mean, I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done with psychiatric facilities and the way that we treat patients. But it was, at the time where I
kept you safe at least.
Yeah. So that was fine. And then that's where I met you through that.
But you met us for the eating disorder, not necessarily for the other stuff, which is interesting.
So that's when I started getting...
that came out of the wash at some point that we need to address it.
The girl that I was dating at the time also was really struggling with an eating disorder. Yeah. And so we really tried to help each other with that. And she was getting treatment somewhere else. There was a lot of back and forth with, at first, it's also when I started seeing Robert, psychiatrist.
So you got a different med approach.
Yes.
And kind of fast forwarding, so you finally start to address all these things.
Yes.
It's real bumpy for a long time, though.
Yeah, because of how bad it got. I mean, I lost everybody in my life. I lost almost all my friends. I lost my girlfriend. I lost everything at that point in time in my life, which, again, I don't blame them for walking away. I don't blame them for, being angry with me or whatever. My, some of my friends I still have, it was hard. But I don't really talk to a lot of the people that really did anything or that I hurt anymore.
So there was a big price tag for your mental health at this stage. You lost people that you had built.
I lost people. Really I had to drop out of school. I had one semester left and I had to drop out. Because
Not to mention the new trauma of all these facilities.
Yes.
For you.
Yes. So
trauma upon trauma.
Yes. So that was when I did try, I overdosed, and that was a whole big thing or whatever. I got out, I officially withdrew from all my classes and whatever, did all that. And again, I think I talked more about this in the first episode we did, where I talked more about everything that happened that was so traumatic.
Because of all of this and life, you did bring a lot of traumas with you, both relationship traumas, other kinds of trauma, medical trauma. All of this is going into your adulthood, and you never could deal with it because you were too busy staying above water.
Yes.
People were just trying to keep you alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's when, after that, I went to the River Center in Toledo. It's not called the River Center anymore. I think it's under new ownership.
It's owned by Odyssey now. Yeah, it's a whole nother. It's a whole brand new.
Good.
Brand new place. Brand new.
Good.
Yeah, and they're doing good things. But it's not where you were.
Yeah. So
ago.
I mean, that's great. I hope that it is helping people in a way that they did not provide help for a lot of other people. I think that, again, just the way, I don't even think that their counselors were particularly bad or anything. I just think the way they had the system set up, they put minors and adults in groups therapy together, and then they would get mad if you weren't hopeful enough for the minors, because, well, what are they going to look forward to if you're talking about your trauma and that your life is so hard?
Meanwhile, you're depressed, you have an eating disorder, you try to kill yourself, and you're supposed to be
I'm having
upbeat.
severe, in the middle of these group sessions, I'll start having these PTSD flashbacks, and they're telling me that I'm not allowed to talk about it. I'm not allowed to cry. I'm not allowed to. Well, what am I supposed to do? Why am I here?
They're trying. Most places are trying to keep the age group separate now, at least.
As they should, and I think that's again,
staffing.
Yeah, and then it made me also feel like I had to mentor these poor girls who have always been very good at being there for other people.
I agree.
But I also needed to be there for me. And when I'm there for other people, sometimes I neglect being there for me.
Well, again, the whole thing we're talking about is you having enough time to focus on you and heal you and not be pulled by college and friends. So of course you couldn't do that.
So
you went there
lived there for what? month and a half.
But you did nutritionally rehabilitate there, right? You didn't you? Did you stop behaviors there? I feel like.
I mean, they kind of force you to.
Well, I mean, it was abrupt because when you came to here, you were in a place of eating disorder recovery. You were on the beginning of it.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that was again the woman that I was dating at the time.
Oh, that's true. You guys were doing it with.
We were doing it together. We were helping
each
other, and we really were. You know, I think a lot of times it can be such a slippery slope with like, okay, well, if one of us goes down, then we're both going to go down. But we really did keep each other on track for the most part.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that we really did. I credit her with helping me get help, and I don't know. But I really am appreciative of that. But anyway, so then, at that point, I wasn't really engaging in the behaviors, but I was still thinking about it constantly. Every thought that I had was guilt, it was impulsive, it was food-based, it was body image-based, it was just constant. So I went off my meds 2 years ago when I lost my insurance.
But you feel like in the beginning they changed your meds. You feel like you had the wrong meds?
Yeah, I was, okay. I had been on like every single SSRI. I had tried everything. I had tried combinations of things. I was on Effexor, and then like every so often we'd try to mix it with something, and that helped me not take it. So like I made sure that I took that constantly, because not having Effexor every Like, if you're a couple hours late, you can tell.
Yeah, it's really bad
It
that
is a
way.
nightmare.
Yeah.
But I think that it really, really helped.
Okay, so you got a good med approach to,
Yes.
to balance you out. But that wasn't, you can't give the meds all
No,
that
no, no,
much.
no, no.
You never stopped working.
No.
You showed up
Well, and I think, again,
for yourself.
and for you.
It's a whole other issue. I should have brought the little picture of us flying our kites together.
I know you should have. It's still hanging up, right?
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. You can't see it because we had to paint over it.
Okay, well, maybe we could scrape the paint
But
off.
to your credit, you never gave up on yourself. You were never someone that said, I'm not going to keep trying. You always kept at it.
Yeah, I mean, I what was the alternative? Stay miserable?
There are
Like
big-
days where I haven't, put my best foot forward or whatever. But
course.
also, like, overall, I've always been very committed to not living the way I was. Because it was so, even the times that were, the impulsivity could be really fun, but it could also be really detrimental. And more often than not, it was,
And it was scary. When did you start addressing the ADHD too, though? Because at some point you did start to address that.
Well, and that was the first time that I think I'd really been diagnosed with ADHD too.
And that blew my mind. I sat with you for 10 minutes and I'm like, yeah.
Holy shit.
And I knew your other stuff. I knew you had. I said, girl, you are so ADHD. And that's not a bad thing, but you've never been able to get skills for it or treat it or acknowledged or medicated.
No, it was never, and I think back now and, obviously I don't want, I've after switching, because I was a criminology major for a year and a half. I was about to start a program that would have gotten me my master's in 4 years, right? And I do think about how different my life would have been had I not gotten so sad, had I not had such bad ADHD, had I not, but also that's not what I really wanted to do. Like,
And this is where you are because you're supposed to be here right now.
yes.
This is where you should be.
Yeah. But, it is frustrating sometimes to think about the impact that mental health has had on my life. So funny because the people in my life now that I love and cherish, they know this version of me. They don't know the bat crazy version of me. And there are glimpses every now and then, right? But they don't know how bad I think things used to be for me. And I'm very open about it. I talk about it, but
It's hard to imagine
it's hard to conceptualize, I think, because I don't know that I'm different now, but the way that I handle situations, the way I react to things, I react in very different ways. There's so many situations where I think back to how I would have handled them even 4 years ago, even 5 years ago. It's so insanely different than the way that I'm able to deal with them now and to cope with them now.
And you have space now, don't you? Meaning, here's the situation. I feel like you're able to see it, figure something out, and then go to it. I feel like before you just ran, you headbutted into whatever was going on.
I love a good distraction. So anything that I saw as a distraction or something that could potentially be a distraction from actually having to deal with anything, I would run with it. I loved it. And then I would oftentimes make the situation so much worse because I thrived in the chaos till I didn't. And that's something that we've talked about a lot. Especially
Loved the chaos.
even, last summer, a couple, whenever, we were talking about something and it was one of those moments where I wanted to be impulsive, but I wasn't. I was not impulsive. I was very, very proud of myself for taking a step back, assessing everything and not acting on impulses. And I was very proud of myself for that. And it's that's something that I think even, 7 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do in the same way. And I remember talking to you and saying, I think I've always really thrived in chaos. And you said, when was that? When did that happen? When were you thriving in chaos?
Well, because that's the deception of mental health. That's the deception of the eating disorder. You think you're doing better than you would be over there, but you're not. And that drama never paid off for you.
No.
Never.
No.
You might have had 12 minutes of something being good, and then the rest of it was like that.
Yeah.
But you've
Yeah.
And that is not your medication because you're not medicated.
Not
And
medicated.
you haven't been for 2 years. So whatever you...
I haven't
has
been
it been 2
medicated
years?
for Almost 3 years.
Oh my God.
I stopped taking my meds right around the time that we moved to Erie, which was almost 3 years ago.
They got credit maybe to get you over a hump
Yes.
when you needed it, even with the ADHD meds. We can chat about that.
Yeah.
But you're doing this all on your own right now. Because you did eventually take a stimulant, didn't you?
Oh, I took a couple. I liked what they did. I liked that I could focus. And when I would talk to Robert about it, I would say, it feels like I am, like when you're listening to a song and the lyrics, the music, like the vocals are very quiet, but the bass is really loud, and then sometimes like the treble's really loud, everything's really loud, but you can't hear the lyrics and you just want to hear the lyrics.
Like a Billie Eilish song.
Yeah.
Where you're like, Billie, can you bring it up a little because I can barely hear you.
Yeah.
I love you a little bit,
But everything
honey.
else is booming all the time.
Yes.
And it's like I'd love to be able to just concentrate on the words, but I can't because everything else is so loud. And then when I would take my ADHD meds, it wouldn't go away, but it would quiet and bring the vocals up a little bit. So I could focus. I could get my shit done. I could do what I needed to do. And I went back to school. I finished my degrees and whatever. But it took a long time. It took a long time for me to do that because it was so hard for me to get assignments in. And then, right as I had started school again, that's when a bunch of people in my life started dying. Very, very dark time. But even that, I think I handled a lot of that so much better than I would have before.
Absolutely. So the stimulants were good, but then there was a reason you didn't like them.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like the way they made me feel because they would trigger migraines.
That's right. And they also affect appetite, which probably wasn't a good thing.
Well, maybe not for you.
Now, that's a whole nother conversation. Well, but that's a really good point you bring up because even in recovery, for you, the voices still come back.
They've never left.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've never, I mean, they're
You
always.
just don't respond to them.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. It's never gotten, the voices haven't gotten quieter, especially.
They haven't.
Especially with the current political era and advertising era and Ozempic era.
It's so hard. The messages so out there are so
and
tough.
they're sneaky too. So some are very overt, some are not.
Yeah.
But even a couple years ago you had more diversity being celebrated. And now it's really regressed. Mm-hmm. And that was around the time that I really started gaining weight too. So it got really hard. It still is really hard, and hearing,
And your anxiety probably goes up from some of those thoughts or fears.
I mean, we've talked about it countless times. Even if you don't have a diagnosable eating disorder, most people have disordered eating habits.
Or body image thoughts.
Body image issues.
How could you not?
Eating. Yeah. How could you not?
Right.
And, it's things, offhand comments. It's, people talking about their diets while I'm already in my head about what I look like, what I'm, how people are perceiving me. All of this stuff, it's all there all the time. Yeah. And it gets really hard sometimes. So
you're still working so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Even though you're in this place where you're like, check me out. It's hard.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of helps me in those moments. There are a couple things. So
the moments when those voices are like,
yes.
You should do this. You should be this. Why aren't you this?
Yes.
Which we all have. But when you have a diet, here's the audience again. Which we all have.
We all deal with it, right?
Did you ever watch Seinfeld?
Oh, yeah.
You know the episode where Kramer does the show, the Merv Griffin show? I feel like I'm like, what is our audience? There's no
Am I right, ladies?
There's no audience. But those voices are everywhere. But if you have a diagnosed disorder, they're much more, poignant.
Yeah.
We're talking about it's very relevant. The idea is that in this into is an ongoing discussion about how recovery is complicated.
Yeah.
But you can be fabulous and it's still hard.
Yes.
And that comes with you, the ADHD, the
it
trauma.
Always does.
It's all there.
I mean, where's recovery most vulnerable to related to self-discovery? Because that's kind of where I'm at now. Everything that we've touched on before, that's, before.
Because you said when you were younger, you didn't know who you were. All you had was this perfection of being a little person.
Yes.
You got to know a little more about yourself now, right? I mean, you went to France on your own. That's what
I was going to talk about a little bit. Because I think something that always keeps me in check is like, why am I spending so much time thinking about food? Why am I doing that? It's exhausting. And it's like, when I was in France, I tried so hard to not be focused on what I was eating because I'm in, the food, one of the food capitals of the world, because it's not worth it, right? It's an incredible, potentially once in a lifetime experience, these once in a lifetime foods. I'm not going to waste that because I'm worried that maybe I'll have to buy new jeans in the summer. I'm not. It's stupid.
Your happiness lies in enjoying the food, not worrying about what your body may or may not do.
And again, it's so easy to sit there and say that. It's so easy to think about it like that. But again, just hearing people talk about, oh, I really need to start dieting. Oh, I really need to. And I'm looking at these beautiful people and thinking, is their body like mine? If they're seeing that with themselves, what do they see about me? What are they thinking? I don't know. I don't think there's such a thing as a bad body for somebody else to have. For me to have, different story.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, I don't know, I think it can make me so mean sometimes, but mostly to myself.
So there's still that tough little girl in there that wants you to do it the right way.
Yes.
And she gets mad.
And even, especially like on vacations and stuff, if we're out of town somewhere, or, in a situation where I'm, wearing a bathing suit or somebody takes a picture of me or whatever, it's so hard because I want to enjoy the picture. I want to enjoy the moment. But it's always followed by somebody talking about their diet, somebody talking about
what they look like in the picture.
Yeah, and sometimes it's me. I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah, we don't really need the picture to validate the experience.
No.
That's what was great when we had to go take them to the store and get them processed, because you had the great fun, and then down the road you saw a photo. And you're like, okay.
So it's
too bad.
It's
so
hard.
It's still hard. But do you know yourself better? What do you know about yourself now that you didn't know in high school and in early college?
Right now, I have a lot of friends who love me for things aside from what my body looks like. Good. And I think that that's been really rewarding. And in situations where I felt like maybe that wasn't the case, I don't need it in my life anymore. I don't need friendships that aren't serving me. I don't need relationships that aren't serving me. I don't need. That's really, really helped me.
And you can have the joy together of eating and going out and being intuitive together.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
The other day I made a really, really nice dinner.
Yeah.
And it was so nice because I sat down and I ate it. Yeah. And I didn't think like, oh, I made this dinner, but I don't really think that I should like eat all of it, or I should be like conscientious about it. Like, it was just so good. It was delicious. There's another question about ADHD and routines.
Which kind of go together. It's funny you said routine.
It can be hard because sometimes when I'm in my groove, I won't eat. Like, I'll forget to eat. Mm-hmm. And then I go, well, what if I just kept forgetting to eat? I just didn't eat again for the rest of my life. And then I'm like, okay, that seems a little excessive.
And now you're able to think about what that would look like, right?
Yeah. But in my head, it still looks good.
Yeah.
But I don't have health insurance, so I have to be really careful because I can't afford to go back to facilities, right? I can't afford that, literally.
So you're using that at least as your guiding force.
Sometimes I have to. Like, sometimes that's what I have to do.
It could be an external motivator.
To not engage in behaviors. And, there are a lot of other factors with that. Mostly sometimes I think about engaging in behaviors and I'm like, that's just stupid. I don't want to do that.
So sometimes the ADHD gets into trouble a little bit because but other times it can help.
It'll set me up to, okay, maybe I didn't skip this meal on purpose, but it's 5 o'clock and I'm realizing, oh, I really haven't eaten today. Mm-hmm. So routines have been really, really helpful for that with me. Like I'm off on Mondays. Mm-hmm. So like every Monday I go to the little diner and I have breakfast, usually by myself. I like my own company. I enjoy whatever. I sit at the booth.
I like my own company. What an important saying that is you just said.
Oh yeah, but I've always been pretty independent. I've always kind of enjoyed my alone time. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with a little bit of like melancholy. It's not sad. I'm not sad when I'm alone.
But there could be a little bit of I also enjoy myself. I'm an interesting person to sit with.
Oh, I've always said I've been called a lot of things, but never boring.
But you were not boring.
I was never boring. I've never been boring.
You were never boring. No, I like that though. So you go and you have this lovely little breakfast.
I have my little breakfast on Monday mornings usually, and then on the days that I work, one of my best friends and I, also co-worker, we go down to the country fair and we get a breakfast sandwich like every morning. And we've made friends with the country fair workers. Like it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
And it's
in
about
doing
food.
that,
It's about food.
it's about food. But it's also now like I've talked to people that I never would have probably talked to. Realistically, how frequently are you building bonds with gas station workers? You know, like
Yeah, not as much as you should be, probably. Yeah. We're all just people.
yes. And then you know, usually every 2 weeks I've started getting wings with my friends on Thursdays. So it's like that routine of just doing that. And wings are a food that I probably would not have eaten really in front of people before. Very messy eater, always have been. But like I've never felt judged. I've never felt like I couldn't really eat. You know?
So this normalizes food for you too, doesn't it? People go out and have food on a Thursday.
Yeah.
They go to wing night. That's a thing.
Yeah.
It's just a thing people do.
Yeah, and it's helped a lot just creating some of these routines. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, every day I have to do this, and that. And sometimes it gets a little bit obsessive. But like, I think the routines help me. Even if I'm struggling, it helps me reset a little bit.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And again, not
important.
that it is easy all the time. And I also tell myself I'm in charge. You know, this morning I got my breakfast and I wasn't as hungry as I normally am. So I didn't eat all my toast. But I was like, I'm allowed to not eat all my toast. I'm allowed to stop eating
You're
when
not
I'm
on a meal
full.
plan anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay. But you're not allowed to not eat because you forgot all day.
There has to be some happy medium.
do
And I am, you know, I wanted to... I'm not feeling very comfortable in my body right now. With my body the way it is, I'm not feeling super comfortable in it. So I am trying to change my body, but I'm trying to change my body in a healthy way now. I'm trying to do it on my terms, not my eating disorders terms.
Which is a very delicate balance.
It is.
Very
It is.
delicate. Which we should talk about.
Yeah, maybe.
There are ways to intuitively connect with your body's dynamics and not have
Yes.
to get caught up in an eating disorder language.
Yes. I still have my really bad days. I still have my meltdown. One of my favorite things to do, the same friend that I go to Cofer with in the mornings, sometimes she and I will go to the beach and she'll just let me throw myself on the ground and throw a little temper tantrum if I'm having a hard day. And I think we should let adults have temper tantrums more often because why don't we? Obviously, I don't do it if there are a bunch of people there, but if it's just she and I and
can't we scream and throw
we're spending
things?
hours talking, like
Beautiful.
I'm allowed to be upset. I'm allowed to have my feelings. You know, growing up, always being told, oh, you're too sensitive. You're too sensitive. I love being sensitive. I love feeling. I think it is so cool to care. And I don't think, if you can sit there and, you know, just not care about anything, I don't think that makes you cooler. I think that makes you kind of sad. Yeah. And I've really tried to embrace the parts of myself that I didn't like before. But I'm also learning that I don't have to like everything about me all the time.
Right.
It's okay to be upset with myself sometimes, but at a certain point I have to rein it in.
You know, not like something about us and not have to hurt ourselves because of it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like my baby toe. Okay. I don't have to torture myself. No, it was
going
an
on with your baby
example.
toe?
It was an
Can I
example.
see it, please?
No, there's nothing wrong with the baby toe. Maybe there is. But I was trying to find a very innocuous example. But you cannot like something and still be good to yourself and still love yourself as a whole, even though I don't love that toe, but I am fabulous with or without that little toe.
Yeah.
Right? And you're learning that. That's not something you would have understood in the past.
No, and I think that came with the same territory of learning that, like, I do have people in my life that like me despite what my body looks like, you know, no matter what my body has looked like. You know, I've been loved regardless. When I lost weight, when I gained weight, when I've lost weight, when I've gained weight, I've been loved the same.
When you have a sunburn, you're still loved. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just when the skin changes the body, who cares? We change all the time. But like so many things about us can change in the moment. It doesn't change who we are.
Yes. And that, I think that's helped me a lot, is realizing that, like, if I have somebody in my life that does care that much about my body, I don't want them in my life.
Yeah, they might need to get some help first and then decide.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't need that. I don't need somebody that's constantly going to make me feel like I have to be worried about what my body is looking like 24/7.
Oh, it sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. Yeah. And
you have other things to do up here.
I have so many people that have shown me time and time again that I am worth more than whether or not I lose weight, gain weight. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I want to be loved for who I am, not who I want to be, not who I think I should be not who I was, I deserve that. I deserve to be seen as more than just my physical figure, and that's something that I still am trying to tell myself. And
You probably have to remind yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it out loud sometimes. Just that, like, I deserve more than thinking about my body all the time. Because it's been really hard to deal with that and to find myself again, because, even though I was doing better, trauma-wise, I was doing EMDR, I was doing, I was managing my PTSD a lot more. I was managing my ADHD a little bit more, not a ton more, but a little bit more. Like, I've been doing all that work, but it's still hard. Yeah. And I think...
Because if you have this much since you were in first grade, you're going to have to keep... It's like saying you have a chronic illness since you were 1. Your whole life, you might have to put some attention into it. It's like having diabetes. You got to do a little bit of attention, right? Yeah. And isn't that okay?
And it's okay
You're worth that.
To not... It's okay to struggle. It's okay to have to pick yourself back up.
Yeah, have a bad day.
Especially when I first started in recovery... Relapse is part of recovery, right? You usually relapse a couple times. Yeah. And I've been, fortunate in a way that I have not been relapsing on behaviors, but my thoughts are still there all the time, and it's trying to figure out how to be more comfortable even when the thoughts get loud.
Beautiful.
And I think
there's still more to learn there.
You said one word to describe my long-term recovery journey.
I know what your last one was.
I don't. So I'm really interested. And I think the word that I would like to use, and it's not really an adjective, ubiquitous. First of all, one of my favorite words.
Can you define that for those in the audience that may not know what ubiquitous means?
Ever present or existing everywhere. So it's like
opposite of innocuous. Ubiquitous.
Very different. Not innocuous.
Not innocuous.
It's like, when you learn a word for the first time and then suddenly you see that word everywhere, that word is ubiquitous because it's ubiquitous. And I think that's a really good way to describe long-term recovery is, it's everywhere. It's, you're constantly doing it. You're constantly seeing it in not only yourself. Sorry, I dropped all this dough. And not only yourself, but
doing very good, by the way.
Thank you. In the people that you love, in the people that you care about, learning how to manage your own emotions while also constantly hearing about other people's issues with food, other people's issues with disordered eating, the ads for, you can.
So it's everywhere. It's not like it's in this little window called treatment and recovery.
No,
it's
everywhere.
Ubiquitous.
It's ubiquitous.
It's ubiquitous. I'm sorry, slow down. But when you said it, I thought of you. I thought of you as taking up space now and having ownership. But that's what my brain went to. When you said it, I thought you were going to say, I permeate my area. And
I do. I'm unforgettable. Try me.
Yes.
Try to forget me. I dare you.
I think of you that way, but in a good way. Like, you're not trying to be small and quiet and be behind your eating disorder. You're kind of like, I have a voice. I have some space. I got something to say.
And you have to start standing up for the underdogs. You have to start,
It's always good to do.
You have to start taking up more space. You have to be loud.
You don't remember what your word was last time?
No, what was it?
It was chaotic. But what I loved about it is you qualified it or qualified it a bit by saying, but chaotic isn't always bad.
It's not always bad. I still think that.
You were like, chaotic is fun. A little.
I still like fun. I still like chaos a little bit. But on my terms.
On your terms.
I need my chaos on my terms.
From chaotic to ubiquitous. There has been a lot that's happened in the past several years.
Yeah. I think these past 3 years especially have been so, I don't know, it's just really, I've really grown up in these past couple years.
And you have constantly been aware and tried and been willing of growing up too. Sitting still, not taking up space would not have done this for you.
No, and I mean, even when I was at my most chaotic, I was always very aware. Yes, I was always very aware of what I was doing. I was aware that I was probably going to hurt people. I was aware that people were going to get hurt because of me. I was aware that people were hurting me. I've always been very aware. And now, when I need to change things, when I need something new, I find that outlet in different ways than being impulsive. Or my impulsivity I still find that impulsivity, but it looks a lot different than now. Certain aspects of the chaos, you can kind of miss certain aspects of the impulsivity, the fun, the not knowing, what's going to happen or where things are going to go or what's going on. But like, it's so much more rewarding. A lot of that impulsivity I felt like I would use it as like an excuse for like me being in control and me needing to feel in control. But I feel so much more in control now when I'm not being impulsive, when I'm not being reckless.
Which is, it's the truth. It's the gospel there.
Yeah. And I find my impulsivity in other ways. I scratch that itch in other ways, whether it's...
So to wrap that final piece up, and the part I'll cut out, is there is impulsivity. There is thoughts about behaviors. There is sometimes melancholy and anxiety, but what you do with it is different.
Yes.
And it doesn't stop you from living your life now.
No, and it's led to me feeling such more fulfillment.
Conversations always. We need a lot more time. We always do, because there's just too much to talk about. But I feel like we covered a lot of stuff that people along your path are going to hear and be like, okay, I get it. And hopefully it'll inspire them to hold on and keep fighting, because it's still work.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out today.
Of course.
And letting me do all this.
Of course.
Thanks for listening to the Mental Health Spotlight podcast, helping you hold hope on your recovery path.